Hi class, how are you? We are going to start studying a new unit, which is a long unit, which is Egypt under the Pharaohs. And because it is a long unit, I'm going to divide it in several different parts. And today we're going to start studying part one, okay? Like all great civilizations, and we have been studying this when we were studying all about the early people and when they stopped being nomads and started settling down, all the first civilizations, they always arose near a source of water. We know how important it is to have water nearby for a civilization to develop. So today we're going to start with part one of this unit, and we're going to start studying the geographic location of Egypt. So let me share my screen with you so that we can start. And here we go. So the topic of this unit is Egypt under the Pharaohs, and this is part one. And the introduction is Egypt's unique geography helped shape its civilization and farming methods. Pharaohs belonging to dynasties ruled Egypt and were seen as gods. Egyptians worshipped many gods. We're going to be studying this in depth later on, but for now we're going to begin studying the geography and how important this was for the development of the Egyptian civilization. Okay? So like the Fertile Crescent, Egypt was home to one of the world's first great civilizations. As in the Fertile Crescent, Egypt's civilization developed in a river valley with rich soil. This is what we were talking about, the importance of water to be able to have a rich soil so that they could develop farming and agriculture. However, Egypt's geography and culture differed in many ways from those in the Fertile Crescent, and we're going to see all those differences. So the Nile River Valley, this is really important because this river is what helped to shape the Egyptian civilization. So basically today, this is what we're going to be talking about, the importance of the Nile River, okay? You can see the aerial picture over here of the Nile River, how it starts here in Lake Victoria, and it goes all the way up here to the Mediterranean Sea. Over here we have the Red Sea, and over here we have the Mediterranean Sea. So the ancient Egyptians treasured the Nile River. They knew that without the Nile, their land would be nothing but a sun-baked desert of bright blue skies and dry sand. And imagine, look at where the river is located, right in the middle of the Sahara Desert. So without this river, there would have been absolutely no civilization to develop right there. So the Nile River is the world's largest river. I'll be done in 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. Sorry for the interruption, guys. Okay, so the Nile is the world's longest river. It begins in East Africa and flows about 3,500 miles north to the Mediterranean Sea. Can you imagine? It's 3,500 miles long. It's the world's longest river. This great river has two sources. One of them is what it's called the White Nile, and then the Blue Nile. So the White Nile flows from Lake Victoria, which we pointed out in the map, and we will see some other maps. And the Blue Nile rushes down from the highlands of present-day Ethiopia. The two rivers meet in present-day Sudan. In ancient times, northern Sudan was known as Nubia or Kush. So we're later on going to be studying the civilization of Nubia. So here you have the maps. We can see the White Nile right over here. It starts in Lake Victoria and goes north. It goes across what today is Sudan, and this is the White Nile. And the Blue Nile starts here in Lake Turkana in Ethiopia, and they meet over here in the center of Sudan, and it keeps going up, see in the other map, It keeps going up all the way up to the Mediterranean Sea right here. So look how long it is. Remember, 3,500 miles from Lake Victoria all the way up to the Mediterranean Sea. So in Nubia and Egypt, the Nile flows through the Sahara Desert, a vast desert that stretches across most of northern Africa. Before reaching Egypt, the river in ancient times roared through 6 cataracts or groups of waterfalls. The rocky cataracts made it impossible for people to travel by ship upstream from Egypt because it was very dangerous. With all the waterfalls, you cannot navigate. It has to be a flat area of the river to be able to navigate. So it was impossible to navigate upstream. So let's talk about Upper and Lower Egypt. Below the cataracts, the Nile flows through a narrow valley lined with cliffs. This region is known as Upper Egypt because it is upstream from the Mediterranean Sea. The river carries silt, that means fine mineral particles that can form fertile soil from its sources in East Africa. Near the end of its journey, the Nile slows down and fans out into many streams and marshy areas. As it slows, the river drops its silt. Over thousands of years, this silt has built up to form a large river delta. The delta is where the river touches the sea and it opens up into many little rivers or many little streams. So a delta is an area of sediment, which are soil or minerals carried by water that are deposited in the mouth of a river. The Nile Delta forms the region known as Lower Egypt. So we can see here on the map, look at here, we have Upper Egypt, which is all this region over here. You have the label over here, Upper Egypt, and Lower Egypt over here. And you can see the delta, how it fans out. You can see it better on this other picture of Lower Egypt, how the delta fans out into all these streams and touches the Mediterranean. So this is the most fertile part because it carries all the silt and sediment that in turn, it will turn to fertile soil. So the floods and the Black Land. A narrow strip of fertile soil lines both the banks of the Nile and covers its delta. This rich, dark soil was so important to Egyptians that they called their country Kemet, which means the Black Land. The yearly flooding of the Nile created the Black Land. Each summer, heavy rainfall in East Africa poured into the Nile's sources. Flood waters surged through Egypt. They flooded the land. These waters flooded the land. And when the flood waters drained away, they left behind a very rich layer of soil that was ideal for agriculture and farming. However, if the Nile floods were very unpredictable. So if too much water came, the floods could be a natural disaster that swept away the soil. And if too little water came, Egypt could suffer a drought or a shortage of water. And if this happened, if there was a shortage of water and a drought, this could bring hunger because then all the crops would fail. So you can see here again how important it is the lower part of Egypt, Lower Egypt, with the delta. Look at all the fertile soil over here. So we have to keep this in mind, the differences between Lower Egypt and Upper Egypt, okay? So this is the first part, our introduction, the geography for the Egyptian civilization. And I will see you on our next class. And like I said, we're going to divide this chapter into several different parts. I will see you next time, guys.